kids, welcome back to another episode of my channel where I'm going to be working today on some packaging of template files, music template files using Ableton. For the past couple of weeks, let me turn myself up. There we go, it's better. Welcome to the channel. My name is John Bartman. I'm a music composer. Today I'm going to be packaging some of the music templates that I release. So this is kind of like the behind the scenes of how I make these templates available. I've been doing quite a bit of on stream composition lately, and I thought I'd just take a break from that to catch up on some of the sort of admin side of it. But it's not boring admin stuff. It's how basically to create sort of a bit of a market around your music. Everyone knows how to make music. It's really easy, but not a lot of people talk about how to properly get it online and put it into a format that's appealing to others to download. That's what I'm covering a bit today. I'm actually going to go ahead with this template that you see over here called Balkan Gypsy Party. Let me get out of the way. So, Ableton Live, great program for making music. What I've just done now is I've done a collect all and save on this project, Balkan Gypsy Party, which is one of my more popular tracks on YouTube. I'm taking the most popular tracks and making them available because they obviously get the most traffic and it's more likely to attract patrons and downloads and purchases and that kind of thing. What are people actually purchasing? Okay, so I don't make a whole bunch of money with these templates yet, but I have been releasing them for long enough to have figured out what kind of works and what people are after. The audience here is music creators who are maybe a bit intimidated by how to get started, and that thing of like the blank page can turn a lot of people off on their music production journey. What I'm trying to do here is fill that, or create like a friendly sort of a starting point for music producers who are interested in doing a bunch of different styles of music, to see how other people do their productions and perhaps just share some of the knowledge that I've gained like in 18 years of producing music, starting back on Reason 3, I think. So today in Ableton, what you see is this. It looks like a pretty busy project. It looks quite sample based. You can see that there are it's mostly audio, which is actually really good for packaging self-contained template files. Now, what is a self-contained template file? That is, well, let's just say it's a project that you're able to import into your own copy of Ableton or Reaper or whatever, without having to then solve a bunch of issues because samples are missing or VSTs are missing, or there's some dependency that you don't have on your local machine that the creator did have, or so it's basically self-contained project files and template files, which is what I specialize in, are easier to use because you're able to download them, import them, and just basically start getting editing straight away. And the reason I said that audio as opposed to VSTs or MIDI-based, sample-based instruments, the reason it's better for this specific niche is because audio is packaged along with the file itself. So for example, I've got here, let's take a look at ops. I'm not sure exactly where I got this sound. I mean, you can get that pretty much anywhere. Let me just turn it up a bit. Now, I might have created that using a external VST, like a third-party VST. But then I wouldn't have been able to import, I wouldn't have been able to export it as a self-contained project because I would have had to export the VST with the sample. So instead, I bounce these things to samples, and thereby the user has the actual audio that they can deal with on their own. Disadvantage, they don't have the MIDI of the original arpeggiator, but in this case, it's such a simple thing that's worth the trade-off. I also do have a lot of audio, sort of like instrumental recordings. So this is an actual melodica, like a melodica instrument that I played and recorded a while back. This whole track is like quite old, but it's still popular. So what I'm doing today is I'm going to just show you how I go about putting this in my YouTube feed and in my Patreon feed, and basically just making it available to people who might want to do some editing on it. Okay, so that's that. Let's take a look here. We've got a bass line. Okay, interesting. Clarinet, which comes in later. I think we've got, what is this, clarinet space? So that's just a reverb channel, basically. Clarinet spa. There's nothing in there. Okay. Cool. Let's get rid of that. Yeah. All right. There's a clarinet sound over here. So today's stream is a little bit different to the usual streams where I'm like normally composing on stream. What I'm doing now is more editing and packaging, but I think it's valuable to the viewers of the stream who might be interested in doing similar stuff. Another thing I like to do is try to keep it as simple as possible. So I'm not going to do a whole refactor of this project now. It's not worth it. It's a bit old, but I'm basically just going to export this as is and then get it, you know, make sure that there's a video available for YouTube and make sure there are links available to where you can download this package. Cool. In fact, this one might be a bit of a bad example because everything appears to be in audio already. That means that there's not a lot of editability, but it is worth doing anyway, just because the track is more popular. Yeah, everything is still in audio. Let me try something different. I'm going to reload the original project, which I had going here. It's going to ask me to save changes. I'll say, not right now. We'll figure that out later. Okay. Give a computer a minute. Okay. Cool. So if you're new to the stream, what I normally do is I compose on stream and I make music projects like this and I make them available. Music templates. Tell me know what you're up to today. I'd always enjoy chatting to people while I'm working like this, seeing what you guys are up to. Okay, here are all the MIDI parts. I've located them in a separate original project. So the bass line, for example, take a look here. This is the original MIDI file for the bass. Okay, it's quite simple. And then we've got audio files there. And a lot of this stuff was originally audio. There's not a lot of MIDI in this project, which makes it quite unusual because most music released today is very MIDI heavy and just contains sort of splashes of audio recordings. At least by people in this kind of field, you know, like the producer field. So, as opposed to like the band field where everything's mainly audio. So what I actually want to do is I want to create, you know, a project that has value to other people. What I am going to do is I'm going to release this with the bass as a sort of sub channel of the audio bass. So what I'm going to do is save it as Balkan Gypsy Party. I'm going to call it O2. Let's go to where I publish these things is under products, Balkan Gypsy Party, template O2. I'll tell you why, because in a minute we're going to self-contain that project and I need it to be in its own folder. Okay. Cool. So let's get on with it. This whole section over here, let's say bass. First thing I'm going to do is join the bass MIDI file so that it is, looks like that has actually deleted all the bass. First thing I'm going to do is actually just enable it and then join it. So now we've got a bass MIDI file and I'm going to stick that right up underneath the bass audio file. So that, where the devil has it gone? Oh, there it is. This one here. Cool. So bass is going to go up with bass so that when the user opens this project, they can easily see where the editable MIDI begins. That is obviously where it lines up, so that's quite nice, thank you. And I'm going to relabel this bass MIDI. And we're going to call this bass audio, or just bass. Cool, nice. And now what we should have is a nice play along, sort of follow along version of the audio bass in MIDI format. I'm also not going to join together the entire audio file, and the reason is because it's loop based. You can actually get away with just having a couple of bars of audio data which then starts to loop. It keeps your project size lower, and I can see that most of this track, I mean I know this track, most of it is already just a loop based project, so we don't have to do that. Cool. See one problem that I'm going to have to face here, which is that this bass MIDI, while it is synced up at the beginning over there, it is also not reflecting this drop down in the sample over here. So I've changed the arrangement somewhat. I'm going to have to just do that basically. There you go. Yeah, I can see that that's kind of synced up now. So this is the level of detail I'm putting into these packs. As you can see, I'm making it like really easy for people to just open it up and play. Bass is out the way. Just need to give this its own channel color. So I'm going to call that, I usually make bass blue. All right. I don't know why. Let's see. Cool. Next up, we are going to find the next MIDI instrument in this track. The next MIDI instrument, as far as I know, is the arps. Let's take a look at that. Yes, there is an analog synthesizer on it, and it is being triggered by an arpeggiator. So let's enable the arps and just give that section over there. Yep, that's right. That's how it goes. Arps are going to go to under arps. Now I just want to make sure that this MIDI is sort of synchronized with this one over here. Looks like it's we've got an extra section over there which I didn't count for, so let's figure this out. Okay, let's zero all of that, make it all one. So the arps come in just before the beat, basically. You can see that that is what the case is. So here we go, arps are coming in just under the beat, just before the beat, right over here. And we're going to copy it to there. I can see that these arrangements are actually slightly different, which makes my life a lot harder, and it makes the user of this pack's life a lot easier. That is the point of what we're trying to do here. Okay. Let's get this. It's going to sends only. Let's send it to bus accompaniment. Yeah. I'm just going to delete that. Very simple arpeggiator part, and let's stick that in there. So what I haven't copied over is the on-off values of this track's arpeggiator, but it's worth doing right. There we go. Just manually put it all together there. So now we've got another one of these MIDI tracks that we can rename arps and and then we're going to call this arps MIDI. Now, what I didn't do before, what I neglected to do, was disable the bass MIDI track. Now we should have playability on this. Yeah, we do. It's going to sends only, but we actually could send it to bus accompaniment. Now the sample that is being triggered, there are 3 samples here actually, finger, sub and bounce. All 3 of those will be included in the package because I've done a self-contained, I've done a collect all on save and save on the bass. Sorry, I've done a collect all and save on the project, so everything should be included basically. Basically, if you get it. Do you get it? I also like to do assign track color to clips. I'm just going to start moving these things up so I know what I've done. So now we've got arps and arps MIDI, and we've got to just disable the 2 MIDI files that we don't want to be triggering. Cool, give that a save. Next, I think probably one of the final MIDI tracks. Boom down. Aha, that fills the gap left by the bass. So what we're going to do next is just zero all of those out. Let's give this a listen, just boom down. Not playing because it's going to sends only. Let's take it over to the bus accompaniment. I think that's the way it belongs. That's it, yeah. Cool. Just suddenly realized that I've made the massive error of not allowing you to hear exactly what's going on. If you've been watching this, drop me a line, let me know what you're up to today. I do enjoy chatting to people while I work. I normally do music composition, but today I'm doing a kind of packaging thing, like an editing thing. Okay, still nothing coming out of Restream. Give me a second to refactor my vibe here. Okay. Nothing coming out either. Okay. 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 Gotta fix a couple of audio glitches here. Sorry, dudes. Let me get on to this. Oops. There we go, cool. Alright, so you should be able to hear it now. Sorry about that. Now, what I was trying to demonstrate was the boom sound. So we're gonna do boom down. We're gonna turn that into one gigantic MIDI clip, and I'm going to move it over to where it is appropriate, which is up with the bass. It's actually a bass instrument. So I'm going to call it bass boom. Actually, we do have it in audio, I think. So here, boom down. I'm going to just stick it up with the bass so that it's hopefully clear that these two parts work together. So let's see, all we've got to do now is synchronize the MIDI with the audio like that. Cool. Looks like I have edited this at some point. The arrangement's slightly different to the original, but that's fine. I can see what's going on. Cool, there we go. We've got a boom down clip over there. Let's join that up. Change these two to, say, a greenish color. I'm going to call this boom MIDI and boom, and then hopefully that is clear what is going on. Boom MIDI should go to bus accompaniment, and it looks quite loud, so I'm going to take its value down to -18, solo it out, take a listen. 2, 3, 4. There we go. Cool. I'm going to keep it at that low level because I don't want anyone to get their head blown off when they first play it. Cool. Assign track color to clips. We are getting there, kids. Let's do it with this too. Boom. Cool, we got bass MIDI, boom MIDI, ARPs and ARPs MIDI. I think we're pretty much done with all the MIDI stuff. Let's take a look through this. I'm just going to scroll down through these and see if there are any instruments that are left. Any MIDI instruments that are left? No. So it looks like all of these, if I were to take all of this stuff and zero it to see its original state, it would all be audio clips, which means that they are already being reflected somewhere in here. For example, 3 claps. There should be a channel for all sorts of claps or percussion or something like that, because when you play it back, you can hear the claps. They're in there somewhere. Wonder where they are. Did I put them in percussion? Yeah, that's it. Percussion is claps. So I've bounced down some of the original channels into like sort of groupish channels like this one here. And you won't find MIDI for these because these are actual, live instrument recordings. Not much I can do about that. So yeah, I just consider it a free loop basically. That comes included. So that's about it, kids. We've done all the MIDI stuff. All the MIDI recordings are in the bag, so to speak. Now, I just want to... it's sounding okay to me. There's one thing that's sticking out, which is this dots part. Let me get myself out of the way. I'm going to move myself to stage left. Cool. This one over here, dots, I realized is being routed to the master instead of the accompaniment, so we're going to change it to accompaniment, and now we should have, there you go, that's what we're going for. So while this plays, let's just let it play. This is like, yeah, one of the more popular tracks I've done. I'll just give you a chance to give it a listen while I do some editing work in the background. If you got any comments or you're interested in what I'm doing, give me a shout, I'll explain more. I do love this kind of work, it's nerdy, but I dig it because I'm a nerd and I dig things. Cool. Let's get a bit more screen real estate here. I don't need to see track delay. I don't even need to see the master. How about that? Screw you, master. Okay, cool. Bus leads. That's one of the buses. Bus accompaniment and bus beat. Then we got bass, boom, ops with their relevant MIDI and audio. Yeah, actually it's that's off, and that's off. Okay, good. Cool. Clarinet space. I don't see anything happening there. Space? Is it space? Spacey. High, low, solo, solo to frill, hum, frill, frill to up, down, bend. Oh yes, I see. I've only used 1 and 2 in there. Okay, I've got an idea. Let's take all of these clarinet parts and just move them to after the project. I'm going to also delete all of this stuff, and let's just give these a listen. Yeah, that's quite nice. These are the clarinet solo parts, so I can actually just delete clarinet spacey and have these as a sort of just like basically samples that the average user can import into their own DAWs or whatever. This is my friend Zimasa Geisman, recording this about 5 years ago now, actually, or 2017ish. Cool. Clarinet, I like this yellow color, so let's go with that. We've also got a second clarinet layer, which is clarinet fills, so I'm going to just put this here, CLA fills, and let's call this clari lead. Cool. Trumpet, guitar, acoustic solo, guitar played with a spoon, guitar played with a spoon again, second one to be able to overlap those two, melodica, what is this, melodica chords, yeah, cool, melodica harmony, melodica adlib. I think that's it, yeah. And this is swells is... What is swells? Please play again. Ah, that's right, yeah, melodica swells, cool. Just classifying... I think we could probably put these on one channel, huh? That's cool. Let's move that all up. And solo it out. Nah, let's keep it on its own channel. I like the panning. Okay, so melodica swells. Then we've got dots. Dots is still a MIDI instrument, and that's totally cool. We can just leave that as is, and users can make changes to that if they want. Kick is traditionally much higher than this, obviously in importance. With dance music like this, you want the kick to be quite important. But I think I don't even have a kick audio. Oh, there it is. The kick. Is this kick MIDI? Or is that kick audio? No, it's kick audio. This is a really simple part. It's literally just, I feel like I should just create a new MIDI track and just quickly whip up the, oops, where do we do this again? It's B, no, it's like this. There we go. Control Shift M. And let's just whip up the actual MIDI file. So I'm going to go C0, C3, dun, dun, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, da, 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 da. That's it. That's literally it. So it's da. No, that's not it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, da, 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 da. Then all we got to do is find out where the kicks are being dipped out. And yeah, basically just mimic that. So I could do it like that. I don't actually have to do this all manually. I'm just kind of trying to be kind to any potential users, which is my downfall. Kindness is my downfall. Here we go, let's do it like this. Boom. And then we're going to just select which parts to delete. There we go. So I'm on automation mode. Get out of that. Show it again. Cool. There we go. I do hate Ableton's automation mode. Cool, and there was one little part over here. Alright, if you like what I'm doing, you're wondering what I'm up to, I'm making music templates. That's kind of what I do. Let me know, drop a line in the comments if you're watching. And I'm glad that you're here. Thank you for stopping by. It's that one there. Cool, and then this one over here can be... I think that's it, huh? Yeah. Boom, 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 boom. Cool. We now have a kick file, MIDI file, that you don't actually have to worry about. It's just matching the original ones. Let's call that kick. Oops. Kick MIDI. And then we want to rename this kick, of course. And these two can... Let's get to colors. I want to just get these guys colored up. So clary lead, clary fill, trumpet. Let's put those all together in a nice orange vibe, and we'll get this guitar stuff, we'll put that in a sort of a darker grey vibe, melodica stuff, there's a lot of colours, let's put them pink, and dots, kick and kick MIDI, can be this kind of like orange. Nice. I don't like those colours because then they make the text turn white. Really anal about this stuff. Dots is really, I don't know how else to describe it, it's dots. Okay, that can be on a sort of mustard color, fine. Sweep I don't even have. Sweep's not even in here. Looks like sweep was an intended function, but it didn't work. And now, yeah, I don't recognize that at all, but I do like this. Ooh. It's pretty filthy. I feel like I need to wash my hands now. It's quite disgusting. Okay, sweep we're going to delete. Hi-hat. Now please tell me hi-hat is MIDI. Yes, no it's not. It's audio. Looks like I have a task ahead of me. There is a hi-hat MIDI part that needs to be made. So let's get that done. This is a 0. This is the original. Yeah, okay. And I think the hi-hat is the same. I think it's the same as the big. Yeah, it's the same as the kick actually. The same as the kick MIDI. Except that it doesn't occur in other parts. So let's do this systematically. Hi-hat MIDI. Hi-hat, cool, let's get editing. That matches fine. This needs to be duplicated to there. No. There we go. Duplicated to there, thank you. Because there's no automation dropout on the hi-hat lanes, so you can just safely duplicate it. Cool, let's duplicate that to there. Take out all of that to match the hi-hat part. I mean, you can quite easily do this now with AI, just like find the audio signal in the hi-hat and convert it to a sample, but it's actually just quicker sometimes to do it like this. Cool. Hi-hat is done. Let us then just find a nice color for these two. I don't know what color that is, but now we got it. Scrape is a sample, so we don't have to do any editing there. Percussion, I think we should put percussion with kick, and we're going to rename all of these, well, not rename, but recolor all of these to yellow. Nice bright yellow, including the scrape, including the toonbak, which I think came from one of my native instruments libraries. Paper, unbelievably, is also a percussive effect. I'm using paper. There's a channel here called Interesting. I'm not sure exactly what is going on there. Reverse theme, let's hear it. What does interesting sound like? Yeah. I've gone and reversed the theme. Like a proper sampler producer. Cool. Okay, so change of plan. Let's get kick and MIDI, percussion, hi-hat, all of that stuff. Let's make a nice bright yellow over there. Cool. And just paper crash. Okay, so this is like meticulously labeled stuff, and that is basically it. Melodica melody, I think, belongs up here. What is melodica melody and why is it different to all these other ones? I've got a okay. Melodica melody. Let's take a listen to all of these fun at the same time. Cool. All right, this is the this is the way to do this. Melodica melody, melodica adlib, melodica. Okay, cool. Cool. And that is it. No, really, that is it. That is all I'm doing. It's the start of the wind down of this particular one. Cool. So what I've got is all of the percussion sounding things, and I'm gonna let's just do this all actually. One. No, we need some more. We need a red one. Let's go with red for all this stuff, or red for kick and MIDI, and then we can do nice bright orange for the rest. Cool colors. Go with cool colors. Okay. There we go. Now take everything and assign color to clips. Now it's starting to look a bit prettier. I don't know why that hasn't assigned. Melodica melody has got to be the same color as the rest, please. Assign color to clips. Cool. Alright, dudes. So now Ableton looks good when you do sort of a red, when you do a type of rainbow. So actually let's go with red. Why is none of that assigned? Okay, fine. Let's do it again. There we go. That looks a lot better to me. Cool. Start with the kick. Change to percussion. I'm going to do an orange instead. And then go to the lead stuff. So let's go with yellow. The clary and the trumpet are the more kind of special parts of this tune, to me at least, because they are the hardest to sort of pull out of the bag with Ableton. They're actual live recordings of trained musicians, which is like the holy grail. Actually, the female vocalist who can really sing is the holy grail of producing, because they make your life very easy. But we'll just have to do with this for now. Okay, so we got a nice looking project here. Let's just delete that. I'm going to save this. And I believe now would be an appropriate time to delete all of these. I hope I don't make the mistake of deleting them and then needing them later. Sorry. So yeah, this is putting together a project file for release via Patreon and all of that. I'm going to just do myself a favor and get rid of all of these extra files over here. Let's just do this properly. Cool. Control-Shift-X will get rid of it, it'll cut it. And then we can also kill this over here. Let's undo that. Okay, undo it, delete time signature. Cool. I like my projects to begin on bar 5. It gives you a little bit of leeway, so let's cut everything before there. And now what you hear is the start with the 10 claps over there. A little bit soft. Let's just take up the backing over here. I'm going to just pump that up 6 dB. Cool. Suits me. Take all of this stuff to a standard level. Cool. Done. Cool. And give that a save. Now what we can do is get rid of all of these too. And we're starting to look like a pretty boss project here. Now this looks starting to look like something that, you know, you might be interested in downloading or perhaps working with. Okay. Let's just double check everything's working. First thing, everything with MIDI in the title must be disabled because we don't need it, and it also shows what is unnecessary to the user. Cool. We've got buses over here, 3 buses. Let's take a look at what they're doing. So nothing really, actually. I haven't got like a ton of compression or anything on them, just a bit of EQ and reverb. Try to preserve the sort of orchestral sort of influenced sound of this project. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's an example, that's one example of how I package a template file. The next step then would be to ensure that this file is, there are no unnecessary audio files floating around, things that aren't used. So let's take a look. I've just selected manage files from the menu. And it says down here that there are no unused files, which means that everything that's in the project is being used, and there's nothing in the project that isn't really being used. The whole thing is 250 megs. That's not bad for a project that's so heavy on audio. So at this point, I'll be prepared to like do the next steps, the publishing steps. So let me show you what we got here. I'm just going to flip to dark mode. Firstly, my face is too fat, and then also, this is how I release files into the wild. So I have like lists of, let's just unhide that. I've got lists of tracks that are in process. So in process, either done or to do or whatever. I think this is now, I've got to fix those up on Patreon or something. But I put all the metadata in here. So and there's a step-by-step process, which is, first step is, have you done the master bounce? Have you actually bounced out the master WAV file? This is for users of my template files who don't necessarily want to buy the pack. Everyone is allowed to use the track for free, and they have like millions of times. My music's all over the place, which is great. Yeah, thanks guys. So that's what the master file is for, and that comes as a free download for anyone who is interested. But then the upsell, the paid product, is the actual project file itself, which allows you to get into the the editing side of it. Maybe you can learn how to do a little bit of editing yourself or music production yourself, or if you want, you can just use the samples in your own production. That's kind of part of the deal. So it's kind of license free, original material. First step is bounce the master. Then I will run the video. Listen to this. Sorry, let's give this a listen. This is the clarinet samples. I'm just going to include them with this pack, just for anyone who wants to download it, for the paid release, that is. Cool. So first step is the video, first step is the master, then I bounce out the video, which goes onto YouTube, which is typically just a playthrough of the file. I won't do it now because I'm streaming, but in a few minutes I'll make sure that there's a playthrough of this. And I just kind of open everything up, and you look at my previous videos, you'll see what I mean. I show people what exactly is on each channel, for the Ableton users. They can see, okay, that's just a reverb, that's just a, whatever, that's a sample, that's whatever. So that they can see exactly what they're getting when they download the full project. That's the idea. And then I also make sure to show the master and any of the sends that are affecting these channels. So that is that step, the video. Then I make sure that a collect all and save has been done, so that I'm not referencing samples from elsewhere. And when I zip up the folder for release, then I make sure that everything audio is in that folder. That's what collect all and save does. Delete VST means that if I have used any VSTs in the project that are going to cause an error when being loaded on the other side, in the user side, I make sure that those VSTs aren't in the project anymore. It's typically stuff like reverb. You might use an external reverb. That means that there's no more reverb on that specific channel or whatever. But what I often do is I do an audio bounce as well, just to give that option. So I try not to rob people of the nicest. So it must sound, when they open it up, it must sound exactly like it did on the YouTube video. It mustn't sound like now things are missing. It should sound exactly, the expectation should be matched, basically. So that's the ethos going into that sort of decision. Then YouTube, have I actually uploaded it onto YouTube? Once I've got the YouTube link, I can create the Patreon page, or the Patreon post at least. Posts on Patreon are, let me just get into the Patreon. Just going to open it up in a new window, private window. So the posts on Patreon are, you can down the free stuff, of course, you can just download for free. You can see everything, but then the locked ones are, you're unable to just get them. Wait, I'm just trying to find, lock. There you go, cool. Join to unlock. Here's an example of, you can just download the template. But yeah, this is a link to a product page, so that's one example of that. But yeah, basically I'm just making it easy and matching people's expectations, So Patreon, and then I also try and include all the metadata in the actual description of the track. So the BPM and the key, and FK is just if I've named the file something else formerly known as. Yeah, so this is like where it's at. This is like version 2. Okay, so I've done a lot of music. I've done over 500 tracks. This is just like the most recent 30 or 40. All of these are currently on YouTube. They're done. And the next step is what I'm doing now. I'm going back to older tracks where I just released the music, the audio file, and the popular ones like Balkan Gypsy Party, which we're working on today. I'm going back and refactoring them like we've been doing today, so that people who are listening to them and watching them on YouTube can just like follow a link, cool, this sounds rad, $5, or join for $6 a month or whatever, support my work. And I'm going to keep providing these template files to people who are maybe new to music and want to get a leg up, not start with a blank page, but also not that typical thing of like you download something, it costs a couple of bucks, and then it's just kind of shitty because there's a VST missing or it doesn't sound like it did in the video or whatever. The whole experience should be nice. And I've got great faith in this. It might take a damn long time to get like any kind of following, but I appreciate the people, you guys who are watching. I appreciate you showing up on YouTube like this. I've been streaming for a couple of days, but only about 3 weeks every day now. I'm starting to see a little bit more interest. I'm getting midweek sales, which is cool. Usually it's just on the weekends. So yeah, I'll just keep on pushing it, seeing if there are like, whatever, 1,000 people in the world who might see the value in chipping in a couple of bucks a month for my work. And then on top of that, of course, it attracts the attention of commissions, which is how I've got my most recent 2 commissions with David, the indie game developer, and Tracy May, the sitcom vlogger. So it's going in the right direction, and this is what it's about. So I just got to cough once real loud. And that was a moment. Cool. Cool. It's been cool listening to the clarinet lead. I'm going to just include all of these as samples. They're a bit soft, but let's keep them in the pack. Cool. I like that. Very creepy. Alright. And I mean, like, I'm pretty nerdy, but I'm not nerdy enough to now go and rename all of these clips, because that's just going to take forever, so forget that. What are you doing today? If you're watching or listening, I'd love to know what you're up to. I have been working on putting together a MIDI, a template file for one of my more popular tracks called Balkan Gypsy Party, and I'm going to be releasing this via my Patreon or for free as a music track download. You can use the music in your games and your videos. Don't have to worry about licensed stuff because I'm the original author, and you have permission. And yeah, I'd love to know what you're up to and how you interact. What is music about to you? What kind of vibe do you have with music? Are you a producer? You want to be a producer? Are you just interested in finding out what other people like me are doing with their music? I'd love to know what you think. Thanks a lot. Cool. So first step is I'm gonna do a bounce of this. I've actually already done a bounce of the master, so that's out the way. I can actually tick that off the list. And let's just freeze one of these rows so I can see what the hell's going on, man. I think it's under view, freeze one row. There we go, cool. No, freeze 2 rows. How exciting, watching someone freeze rows. Cool. Next is a video which I'm going to have to do. Collect all and save is done. Delete VST is done because there are no VSTs in this track. VST, by the way, includes the Restream device over here. Well, I'm in the way, but Restream is the device that allows me to play the Ableton audio so that you can hear it while I'm streaming. So I'm actually going to take that away now because yeah, we're pretty much going to finish soon. I'm going to delete that. You can't hear the track anymore, but give that a save. And then I think probably there's no need for 2 limiters, seeing as there's no need to be so unlimited. I'm going to just rename some of these. So reverb long, reverb short, and NYC. And I'm not sure anything's actually going to New York compression. Let's take a look. What is New York compression? It's a cool hip-hop technique. It allows you to boost the highs and the lows, compress the highs and the lows of a track to make it pop. I've got one issue with this, that is we've got tracks still going to the master, which is not ideal. We want everything to go through a pre-master. So I'm just going to set those two that I've seen to the pre-master. Clarity fills should go to the pre-master, or in this case bus accompaniment. And then I've got a yeah, so all 3 of these are basically pre-masters. Nowadays I use 1, but that's better. 3 is better. Cool, I think that's that. Now when I play it, it should sound fine. It's a little bit low on the bass. I'm going to just turn the bass up a bit. The reason it's low is because I just rerouted it away from the pre-master. Cool. Sorry, you can't hear this anymore, but take my word for it, it's damn awesome. Okay, cool. Just color those, make all of these guys a little bit on the white side, the white stuff. Cool. Get rid of that. Cool. Oh, we got this nice looking track. Here's my guitar solo. Let's hear it in solo. Alright, you can't hear it again. Alright. Well, dudes, this has been a super colorful stream. I'm pretty stoked at how it looks, at least. And this is one of my more popular tracks, so wish me luck. I'm going to release this within a couple of days to YouTube and Patron. So yeah, there's just so much to do. I could like spend this could be a full-time job. Okay, releasing the music. How do I earn from it? Okay, so I'm earning $20 to $50 a month just on automated downloads. Not enough to buy a house, but it's getting sort of it's just ticking over, which is quite cool. And that's after the expenses of like paying for the online stores, like Gumroad charges $10 a month or whatever. So I get that in the pocket. That I sort of reinvest in services. Now, the next thing I've got to do is go back in time and get a chunk of my catalog back on Spotify. So most of my music is on Spotify and all the streaming services, but I stopped submitting it because the service that I was using, Lander, it's very cool. It's an automated mastering service, but it just started costing too much. It was like $20 a month or something. Doesn't sound like a lot, but their upload functionality for uploading albums was absolutely like in the toilet, like in the Stone Ages kind of bad design. There was no way to like mass import metadata or copy paste fields. So you would have to literally take each track and re-paste the data. And I did this for years. I did this for like 3 years. I paid them like, sort of a not a cheap fee. And in return, I got this like software product that didn't actually make my life very easy. So I kind of got a bit burned from that, and I stopped distributing my music through them. Now there are other options, obviously, like DistroKid. I'm going to go on to Soundtrap. I think that's the next step. They take 15% cut of anything that you make via streaming, and then you charge $1 a song. So that's my next play now. Get the previous tracks back onto the streaming services. That's one thing that I got to do. Then find or filter my current catalog by popularity and by YouTube popularity, and release the template files. So there shouldn't be a really popular track that doesn't also have a link to where you can download or purchase the template file, like what I'm doing now, this easy to use, attractive and self-contained Ableton file. I've got to get through that stuff. That might attract a couple more patrons or sales, which is cool. The general awareness around having your music on streaming services is also good for SEO and stuff. Then this is kind of like a bit of a unnecessary, but it's going to make me feel a lot better, which is to finish my app. So I've got a web player app that I'm working on for my own website. It's currently not really operational, but I'm almost done. I'm doing it in React, and it's basically I just need a way to showcase all of my music from like the past, like 15, 20 years in a way that is customized by me. So what I deem to be important. I can't do SoundCloud links. I've got way too much music for that. So I want it to be a good user experience, but also on my home turf. Almost there with that. And we could also have buy links from that, because previously, like one of the top referrers for my income, my music income, was my own website. Amazingly, people were finding the blog posts. I put a blog post for every track. They were finding that. They were finding my homepage, and they were like clicking through and getting this stuff on Gumroad. So Gumroad would inform me that johnbarban.com was my referrer, which is great. johnbarban.com and YouTube. But now, since then, I've kind of let my site lapse because I've been redeveloping it. So the mission now is to get the site basically back up, and maybe just start publishing everything I do back, as blog posts, in order to like capitalize on the SEO again. So anyway, this is a whole big long story, but I thought I'd take today to break away from the music composition stuff and just focus on what I'm actually doing big picture wise. What is the benefit of template files over just individual tracks, like with regards to editability and all of that stuff. Game makers sometimes need individual stems and loops and that kind of thing. Yeah, I'm just basically taking it forward. And I guess the next step, ideally in the future, would be devoting more time to developing contact instruments, so you can actually release your own player, contact instrument in a contact player, which is a industry standard. And then also, as the suggestion of a recent friend, I guess, who's reached out to me via the channel, Chris, he suggested, like getting into Wise and Fmod and game audio, game music. So I don't have to just export, audio files, and the format is more consistent with, what people actually want. So that is one whole lot of info. I've been wanting to talk to someone about that for years, man. Thank you so much for sticking around. I think that's it for today, kids. I really appreciate you hanging around on the stream. If you're just dropping in, I'm a music composer, and I'm releasing template files via Patreon and YouTube. And hopefully that's of interest to you guys. And if you dig my work, share the channel. You know the drill. That's it. I'm going to now go and give myself a round of applause and sit on my ass for a bit, stop talking, have some water, and then I'm going to get back to work. Cool. I'll see you guys tomorrow evening, afternoon, 2 p.m. UTC. And keep going with your projects. Let me know what you're up to, and I'll see you soon. Big love. Cheers.